We celebrate the feast of St. Lawrence today. St. Lawrence lived in the 3rd century, was one of the 7 deacons in Rome. In fact, he was considered an archdeacon because he was the first of the 7 deacons. To him was entrusted the responsibility of catering for the church's goods. So he was in charge of the treasury of the church there in Rome. And he administered the goods to the different people, the needy, the poor, and different departments as needed. At that time, there was, in the church, persecution. It was a very severe one. It was in the reign of Emperor Valerian, who ordered that bishops, priests, and deacons should even be killed. And he had said that St. Lawrence should submit to the emperor and his cohort all the treasures of the church, all the things that he was giving the wealth of the church, they should submit it to him. And this was just a few days after Pope Sixtus was executed, was killed. I think Sixtus was killed on the 6th of August. But what the deacon, St. Lawrence, said was that they should give him some days to put together those things. So it took 3 days after Lawrence was killed, 3 days, 7th, 8th, 9th. Use those days to quickly, as much as possible, distribute these goods to the poor. Distribute them to those who needed them. Then when they came to him to ask for it, the treasures of the church, he said to them, pointing to the poor, these are the treasures of the church, the poor, the needy. And then they took him and he was executed. He was roasted alive, burnt, roasted alive, on the 10th of August. Today, 10th of August. He was only 33 years old. And from that day, he became a saint, and he is venerated in the church. Very great saint. That is why the readings we take on this particular day of the celebration of the Feast of St. Lawrence are very special readings, telling us about the fact that the grain of wheat must fall to the ground and die, otherwise it remains a single grain. No farmers understand this. Unless a grain of wheat shall fall upon the ground and dies, it remains but a single grain with no life. Like I mentioned, farmers will understand this. If a farmer does not plant a seed, he cannot get his harvest. People farm in order to get food. But as they eat the food, which is their produce, they are very careful. They separate what they're going to eat from what they're going to plant. Every year. A farmer does not consume everything from the farm that he gets. He must keep some. If they harvest corn, for instance, maize, that are harvesting maize, they leave some to dry. And then they tie them and put it up, in the smoke. Some do that to preserve it. So they can have seeds to plant, so they'll have food again. If it's yam, they keep some. Sometimes they reserve the seed yams so that again they can have it plant. Farmers always think about the next season. And in thinking about the next season, they must give up vital, great and healthy plants, seeds, the ones that are good. They don't reserve maize, for instance, is the one. They'll keep some of the ajebewunu. Is that what they call it? Mm-hmm. Is that what they keep the ajebewunu? Mm-hmm. Those that are very good. Those that have full seed. The ajebewunus are the ones that, if you have the, you have the baho and ajebewunu. The really good ones. The paho are the corn, the maize with spots. You open it, You can count the maize. Then the ajebunu is when you open from top to bottom. It's all very beautiful, clean. Those ones are the corn with leaves on the top. They are called ajebunu. They are the great corn. Those are the type that the farmer will keep. Why? So that next season, all the seed he gets will be like those ones. Because the farmer was scared to keep all those fake ones. Those ones that have the power holes, I call the power holes, that you can count the seeds. Because if you keep that one, maybe before then they will be rotting. Or if you put it, they will not grow. So it is, according to my father used to say, what you give to the earth is what you receive from the earth. So farmers keep part of the best produce. If they have yams, those are very strong, very heavy, very beautifully bodied are the ones that they keep. You want to plant seed yams, good ones, and you want to cut it to make it big so that you have strength to grow. So farmers make sacrifice to get more. If they are stingy, they cannot get more. That's why it says here, in first reading, he who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly. He who sows bountifully will also reap bountifully. So if you sow well, you will get well. If you sow good seed, healthy seed, you get good produce. Very healthy produce. It needs to be well so that you survive that time for rotting. You know, that will be a good one. If you put a bad seed in the earth, it will rot very fast. It will have no strength. When it goes to the earth, it will rot very fast. And rotting away. But if you put a good seed in the earth, it still will die and rot, but it will have the strength to come up with a new one, a good one. That is the difference. That's why I say God loves a cheerful giver. So he says he supplies seed to the sower and bread for food. This is one point we must understand here. It is God who supplies. When God gives, he gives the best to the sower, and when he's giving you bread for food, he's giving you the best. So the seed that you get is both good, whether for sowing or for eating. And then again, talking about the death of the seed, which the saint we celebrate today represents. Jesus himself is the seed that died. He died, was buried in the earth, and then he rose again. So also are the saints who give their lives up. We must all die in order to rise. There's no one who will not die in order to rise. We must all give up our lives. So whoever treasures this word, Jesus says, will lose it. So if you are ready to even give your life for Jesus, it's not lost. Why? Because he will raise it up at the last day. He has promised us that. He said he will raise us all up. So the saints who allow, there's someone like St. Lawrence, who allowed himself to be burnt, he was roasted alive. Is that not a great sacrifice? Jesus says himself is an example for all of us to follow. So that's what he did. He gave up his life so that where he is, we shall be. He says, servants, whoever serves him will follow him. And will give up his life even as he does or he has done. So wherever he is, we will be. So what this one calls us to do, therefore, is to be generous with everything that we have, with our lives, up to our lives, up to our time, up to our energy, up to our resources. He was generous. St. Lawrence was generous to the poor, to give to the poor. He was ready to give to the poor. So when we have anything, someone is begging us or ask us, and truly has the need for it, let us learn to give. Let us learn to share.